On this episode of The Nerd Note, how small businesses have leveraged marketing through the pandemic. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Nerd Note. I am your host, Jason Garcia, and with me, as always, the Dwight Schrute to my Jim Halpert, Matt Enderly. How you doing today, Matt?
Well, first you're going to have to kind of back up because I don't know those names.
You don't know anything.
I'm going to assume they're athletes.
It's The Office, and Google it. All right?
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
And with us today, our guests are Dale Haynes and Troy Myers of Hot Pots Pottery Studio. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Hey, great to be
Did
here.
I get that right?
You got it, yeah.
All right, cool. It's always interesting, one, getting people's names right. Is there an S, is there no S, and all that, and then making sure we get the business right.
Well, you messed up the business. It's not hot pot, it's lit pot.
Lit pot? I don't even know what that means. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, now back to what we were supposed to be doing.
Well, that's funny. When we first opened, people thought that's what we did, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah. So today we want to discuss, you guys are a small business,
Right.
and you guys are located outside of Youngstown.
Yeah, we're like halfway between Canton and Youngstown.
So obviously not the most populated area.
No.
Also, with everything that's happened with the economy, that it's not the most financially, let's say, solvent. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but there's not a ton of disposable income in that area. Correct?
You're right. Yeah.
So give us a little bit of some idea of what you guys have done to make sure that, one, you've been able to keep your doors open and give payroll so that your employees can keep paying their bills through the course of the pandemic. And let's start with, so we had the shutdown, right? And we all kind of saw it coming. Mm-hmm. So, it gave you a little bit of time, but what are some things that you guys did? Yeah.
We had it with a
Yeah,
week.
not like you had a ton of time, but what were some things that you guys did, right away to help the business?
Well, the pandemic makes you stronger as a business because you got to pivot, you got to try new things. When the shutdown happened, I mean, we have always sold like things to go.
Sure.
But we quickly got our online presence going on there with online shopping.
Did you have online shopping, or you hadn't had it until then?
We did like online bookings, but we didn't really
Okay.
sell product. But we were at the point where we couldn't even be open and people couldn't even come buy product from us. So Dale got the website all up and going, and then we went, got on the Facebook Marketplace and found these lockers. So we set up these lockers out in front of our studio, and people would order stuff, and then I worked every day. We had a couple staff members that came in throughout the pandemic to help out with orders as well. And we would just package up orders and put them in lockers, assign them a number and a combination to the lock, and they would come and pick things up. So it really filled a need because people were stuck home. There was no place to go.
Sure.
The kids were out of their minds. They were doing school at home, but
Right.
they needed some other activities to do. So it really filled a need. I mean, we did really well, and we partnered with some of our other stores in our plaza. Our gift store had like $10,000 worth of Easter candy that was sitting on a shelf that couldn't be sold. So we put their candy online, and people bought candy. So we partnered with people and really made things work out for everyone.
So maybe you could tell the audience, what kind of stuff do you guys sell at the store?
Well, it's all like, it's a do-it-yourself studio. You come in and you can paint pottery. We do mosaics, candle making, glass fusion. We have laser cut wood decor stuff. So it's stuff that can be done at home. You just have to provide the supplies. And that was the hardest part. I mean, we have so many different colors and supplies. So you had to get it online so they could select the colors they wanted and send everything they needed so they could do it at home.
And even that's hard because, the colors online look very different than when they're on the piece itself.
Sure.
Just so the audience knows, my mother-in-law and father-in-law have a piece of your guys' pottery in their house. We bought them.
Right.
And it wasn't a huge difference.
Did you make it?
No. So what we did is all the grandkids, so there's 6 of them total, they laid out, they got their handprints, and then I think we cut it out and then sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
And then they laid it over. So then it's a bowl with all the hand cutouts.
So just want to make sure, we're back up a little bit. You sell an experience at your store.
We do, yeah.
And that was before COVID. I mean, you're not selling a finished product. You're selling the experience. And so that presents a whole separate challenge hitting COVID, because now it's it's not like you sold this widget in your store and now you're going to ship that widget.
Right.
It's you're selling an experience, and so now you have to assemble kits so that people can have a similar, as close as possible experience at home. And then you're saying you bought a kit and we're able to have the kids, the grandkids do this and send them up to the grandparents.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I would assume with this great idea where you're sending things, so there's only so much coloring and board games and things like that you can do, right? And then I have kids, and it's just there's a point where we just have to try something else. Is that you guys did you have a lot of first time customers with that program?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming with that they've come back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
How did you get the first time customers if they didn't know you existed?
Well, social media was a big player. People would tag, and then people would go to our website, and we had to do a lot of videos to add to our website too. So
Like
people
instruction?
instruction, and even
Yeah.
just explaining the process, because people have never been
Sure.
with us. I mean, we
Sure.
sent printouts, but it was nice to have someone there in a video to kind of guide them. So
And those are loading from YouTube onto the product pages directly. So
for
then
SEO.
it's adding to
Right.
the SEO. We have a
Yeah.
really good organic ranking.
So your Facebook. So you got new customers, first time customers in the middle of a pandemic for an experience oriented product
Right.
or service. And you obtained a lot of these through social media. Were these social media organic or social media paid ads?
we did pay some. We did
Yeah.
some paid ads.
I mean,
but
do you
most of
mind
it was-
sharing just kind of a ballpark? Like, what did you budget for those ads?
We would, but we're like $20 is all.
So it's not a
it
ton
wasn't
of money.
a lot, no.
Yeah.
But most of it was just tagging and like. just-
Sure. So how did you encourage the tagging and the people to share? And
Well,
high
we didn't really
engagement?
push as like a contest or anything, but I mean, people just did. I think they just
Yeah.
knew that there was a need for something for people to do.
A lot of our
Sure.
people, and the people in our area will tag a friend that they want to come, and then somebody else sees that, and then they
Yeah.
tag somebody, and it just
Because it would be really cool. You guys remember we would do things in school. I don't know what the age group, but and then the art would go from school to like a local, something. And I can envision like the winner would get another kit, right? Or
Yeah.
or the first place, or some kind of a cool way socially for people to share, and hashtag it to where you can see it or post it up to you guys and you share it.
Troy actually does some contests like that, and it's kind of cute because he prints out every single share and comment, and our bunny at the studio actually picks the winner. He'll
Oh,
grab
nice.
The first piece of paper and start chewing.
Yeah.
And I think probably
That's
what
cool.
also helped you guys is being a local. It's just you guys that own the studio. It's not like you're a huge conglomerate here.
No, right.
Is that people during the pandemic? I know for my circle of friends became very big into supporting local. When we ordered, or, when you ordered your carryout, you wanted to go local. When you did this, you wanted it to be local.
Yep.
And so that I would assume, being that you are from a smaller community. That really helped you guys, is that people were probably trying to band together. And
Yeah, there
bring
was
that.
this whole social media thing where small businesses were reaching out to each other, and we would do a thing every day, each business, to try to like get people to help us out. Because I mean, we were like, we were out of business mostly. A lot of
Right.
businesses were so.
Right. And since the beginning of the pandemic, has business has been good?
Summer's been phenomenal. Yeah, this is our slowest time. Kids are back in school, but
Sure.
it's just the lull before the storm, before the holidays hit. So
And do you guys do something like, there's the wine and paint or whatever it's called?
Sip
Do you
and
guys,
paint,
do you
yeah.
guys do that sort of stuff? At
Oh,
the
yeah.
So
studio
it's
as
kids
well?
and adults.
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's for every age. When we first opened, everyone thought it was for kids, and that was the whole stigma we had to get past, because people were like, oh, let's take the kids. But we do clay work and pottery wheels and things that it's a great date night. Bring your wine and drinks and food, and it's just a big party time.
Is that certain days of the month, or how how does that? You have like a schedule, or
It's online booking, so the pottery
Yeah.
wheel lessons you can book online anytime.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like a private deal
Yeah.
with an instructor
Got
that
it.
we schedule for that. But the studio itself, you can come anytime to do stuff. But we do events too that are like a lot of clay events and some canvas painting things and stuff that are instructor led. But
And those are on our online booking
Yeah.
calendar.
yeah. So
they can
what
go
we'll
on and
do is
see.
we'll do some B-roll and show the audience what some of the stuff is, the
Mm-hmm.
kits and the experience.
So I know for myself, I have one of the wood burned pieces at my house.
oh, the laser things, yeah.
Yep. And then we have a couple here at the office.
You're on one.
Yeah, I'm on one. So just so you guys can see this here, just an example. It's just a coaster, but
Yeah.
so you guys do a lot of cool, different stuff. And did you guys expand product lines outside of the at-home kit through the last almost 2 years now?
We always add new stuff. We're always looking for new things to add. We're getting into the whole resin deal. Resin's cool. I mean, it looks like water, pure glass when it cures. So that's the next direction we're going to go. We were in the silk dyeing where you do the scarves and the bandanas and stuff where it's marbling, you float the color on the water and transfer it. So we're always looking for new stuff, and that's the key to our business. There's a lot of people that just do pottery painting, and we've grown and grown and grown over the years where we keep their interest in it. They love it. So
something interesting. I've had conversations with Dale where you guys work with other studios kind of within. I know you've gone to Virginia or Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Is this just like a community of folks that you guys kind of help each other out? And
we're like a member of an association which you can join, and they support each other. But they have an annual convention. This year was virtual again, but they didn't do it last year in person either. But you meet a lot of other studios, and we feed off each other and share ideas, and it's really helps.
That's interesting. It would be like in our field, almost like getting with your, not so much competition because they're in different geographical area. Right. But I find it so cool how you guys you're almost like a little commune of pottery nerds.
Yeah, we really are.
That get together. You guys help each other out, which is cool though, because, if you hear of another studio that's struggling, giving them some tips and ideas and helping out with their social media, because I'm assuming probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, are a lot of the folks that would the majority of the folks that own studios, are they older?
Not necessarily, no. It's pretty much the whole gamut. There's people that have retired and sold their studios off.
Right.
It'll be our 20th year, but so we've seen studios like change hands and things over the years. But there's a lot of young kids coming like right out of college and things
and so they can help kind of the older folks with the social media and coaching them, and which is super nice, especially if there is a tight budget and marketing isn't necessarily something you can afford to outsource.
Sure.
That they have that internal or quote unquote internal access to other.
That's like at
folks.
the convention, the whole offerings of the classes are like this year over half of them were on social media and marketing.
Sure.
It used to be all just technique stuff, but now it's all how to get your business out there and help it grow and get more exposure. So
now he said something at the beginning that we've talked about numerous times. He said we pivoted, right? And that was a big thing our last week's podcast was they saw companies that were twice the size of them, that when the pandemic hit and there was we're having supply chain issues, they were able to pivot. And the bigger companies were not, right? There's just too many moving parts. And so just like we do with our companies here that are associated with the Nerd Note is we're constantly kind of pivoting. Right. And
sometimes by design, sometimes by necessity.
Right.
I mean, one of the pivot, not the sidebar, but one of the pivots for us was everyone went working from home. And so security became a target.
Yep.
And so a lot of the ransomware stuff was linked to the fact that people were sending more emails instead of inter-office communication. So it sparked the believability of an email from someone regarding payroll that historically wouldn't have happened through email. And so I think, but anyway, so we had to adjust and add some other things. But so I have a question. You amplify your online social media presence because of COVID. You change your product offering. And now, people started coming back out until this new Delta wave, but are you going to keep those same efforts running? Do you hope that you learned from the COVID that online campaigns can be beneficial and keep those running, or if things open back up 100%, you'll go back to the old campaigns that you were already running?
Well, online's going to be there forever because it's continued to be pretty.
As far as the kits.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, we always did that mostly just seasonal, and it would be something they came to the studio to pick up. But we did shipping for a while, and it was difficult because things were getting broken in the process. And then shipping delays and things, it made it bad. So we stopped shipping because we had orders from like far away. Yeah. But then we just did that local pickup thing. But it's still going to stay. I mean, it's something still substantial.
He has a section of the studio set up where they can pick their colors to go to. So if somebody comes in, they're uncomfortable with having to be in the tight space with other people, they can pack their stuff and we can send it with them. And
so you can walk in and they can build their own kit, essentially.
Yeah, that's really been the big thing now. People like the more hands-on so they can see and touch and see it more close. Online's a little trickier to show the offerings. But
Sure.
All right, so Dale, Troy had mentioned that you had done a lot of stuff with the website and helping drive new traffic in. Can you give us some details on what you've done and what you're currently working on in regards to the website and just the online traffic in general?
A couple things that we had to do was adding the color options. I mean, there wasn't really a way built into the shopping cart platform to support that. So we had to figure out different ways to integrate that and get that added in through Gravity Forms and adding the color options on there. But the other thing we were noticing is a lot of websites were getting hit with, they would go in and just constantly run a credit card and try and do different codes and stuff.
What do you mean?
So say that I go to your website and I've got a stolen credit card, but I don't know the zip code. I'm going to sit there and keep trying to run a transaction through your shopping cart.
Oh, you were getting potentially some fraudulent charges.
Yes, had a couple different clients that had that happen, and they got charged over $3,000 in auth fees because every time
chargebacks.
Yep. Well, no, just me trying it on your website. There's a cost for that, even if it fails. If that is instantly declined, there's a 75-cent charge for every single one of those.
Wow.
Now times that by 3,000.
Wow.
So we had to put extra safeguards in place just to prevent that from happening too, since all of our traffic was going online instead of in the stores now. And we had to put a lot of different security things in there, and then we went in and I've shown Troy what the purpose of different meta keywords are and how to tag everything properly so that it's helping with the traffic.
Now, with your, and a lot of people don't realize this, right? There's constraints to themes of a website.
Yeah.
Like people just think, well,
there's constraints to websites.
Right.
Yeah.
So people think like, well, I have a website, I can do this. Well, no. It's
Well, you can. It's cost.
right. Well, there's a cost, and you're talking about we need to rebuild something.
Yep.
So was your theme in the website already capable of being able to show these colors and?
Yeah.
So there wasn't a whole lot of change there.
Well, it just required finding the correct add-ons to different plugins to make it work. I mean, the theme that we utilize is very versatile, and it accepts other plugins to give you that extra functionality you need. It's just a matter of displaying it the way that fits your brand.
And what do you think just the cost for the plugins was for that?
Wow.
Roundabout. And
I have about $2,000 or $3,000 a year, and
I thought you were going to say a month.
No,
You scared me for a second.
a year and different costs with plugins associated. But it's also not just Hot Pots' site that I take care of for that.
It's a multi-site license.
I manage a lot of pottery studios' websites. So,
and do you think what do you think the cost would have been if you would have had to outsource that?
if we would have had to outsource it, probably double that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because the question now is like, how much time did you have, right? So
Yeah, and that's
everything
the other
closes. We might get a week. We had,
Right.
it kind of was like, well, no, now they closed this. Well, now they. So when you got to that point, how much time did you commit to adjusting the website to accommodate selling the kits?
We worked around the clock.
We
had
worked
to
around the clock
photograph
for about a week.
things and
So, I
stage
mean,
it and
That's the other thing. A lot of
get
businesses
packaging in
don't
place
have
for all that. It
somebody
was like,
on staff to do that kind of work for them.
Right.
So, I mean, I probably did at least 10 hours a day for 2 weeks straight
no,
on
probably.
just adding products, customizing them,
Yeah.
getting that.
And that doesn't
working.
include the video work.
No,
No.
and that didn't include the video work that we had to go in after hours do. Then upload.
And you had no clue there was going to be a outcome of this.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming up with saying,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
let's do something, and
Yeah.
we're going to put all this effort in.
It was shot in the dark just to see if
So
this would
between
work or not.
website, videos, getting pamphlets ready to be mailed out with everything, talk to me about hours. How many hours do you think just in the build up to being able to produce this product to
They don't
then
wanna add
ship
this
home? I do, because I don't
No,
think
you do and I do. They don't want to add it up
I think,
because
guys, the reason I'm asking is because I don't think people realize how companies like MaxTech / Marketing, how much effort is put in to be able to do the things that we do. When we quote a video, and we say, okay, it's going to be $3,400 for a 1 minute video, they're like, why? And there's a lot of moving parts that go into
right.
this, and the majority of that cost is in editing. The amount of time. So talk to me. I just want to know, because I want the listeners to hear it from a company that.
Are we talking about just the build out portion or the actual him going in and actually putting everything
well,
together
content
too?
for the website is part of the website, right?
Yeah,
Because without
yeah.
the website, you wouldn't have created that content.
I mean, we're talking.
over 100 hours.
Oh, probably.
We're talking about 160 hours.
Yeah.
I would almost say.
Yeah. So I think, again, I think most small businesses, medium-sized businesses, don't realize the time that that companies like us, that it takes us, and the manpower it takes. Part of it might be Jonathan, part of it might be somebody else, part of it might be somebody else, and collectively all that time comes together. And then also we might shoot a video, but we don't have enough B-roll, right?
Yep.
So then we have to go back out,
do a second
get
shoot.
B-roll to then fill in the gaps so that it flows. And then if there's something where someone's looking off camera because they're reading a line, we cover that up with B-roll so it looks much cleaner. And the time that takes, and color grading and all this stuff.
The equipment.
I just find that so a breath of fresh air that you guys are both like, yeah, I see it, and and I understand why it would have been double what we paid. Right, obviously you're quote unquote, you're not paying yourself, but you're paying yourself. Yeah. But I most people just don't realize.
They don't realize
until you get in and you see the final product and you're like, got it.
Yep. And I say that we've sent dedicated photographers to warehouses to photographer to do
photographer.
All the photographer.
Yep, got it.
It is Friday. It's 2:40. Okay,
and we're not drinking this podcast.
Yes, well, okay,
yeah.
But we sent someone out to do calipers, the brake calipers. And all they did was the 3D illustrations of those. So photography. Yeah. So I think some people, a lot of companies understand it. So I guess my question now is, you say roughly 160 hours. Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes. It's the only thing that kept our doors
You would have had zero revenue outside
Yeah.
of online.
Yeah.
And how much, just ballpark, what percentage of your online sales came from the kits that you created after the pandemic?
Oh, after the shutdown?
Like, during, like right after the
during.
Yeah.
Our volume was the month of April was equal to what we did as a walk-in business, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. So all that effort really carried you.
Yeah, we actually did like Easter bunny deliveries. We had this bunny costume, so we actually took orders and we went to people's houses and drove, and the Easter bunny delivered a to-go.
I remember Bill telling me about
kit. That was huge. We had people like clamoring. We couldn't do enough. I mean, we had to shut it down. But
so, is there anything in hindsight that you would have done differently, or whether you would have added more or less, or just different at all?
I don't know.
I don't think we really would have. I mean, we've seen 30% of pottery studios in the U.S. close because they didn't pivot and they didn't do this type of work.
They didn't invest in the marketing.
No, they didn't.
And that's what I think we see a lot of is right now the economy is contracting. And people think, all right, well, sales are down, so I'm going to cut my marketing, which is the opposite you should do. You should be investing more into your marketing because it's hard for... Let's say it took you 10 leads to close an account, right? To get a contract of some sort or a customer. Now you need 20, right? Because people are tighter with their checkbooks, which is fine. But that means you have to double down in the marketing to be able to get
You should be tighter
more.
for a reason. Like, I believe people spend money for a reason and they save money for a reason. Don't save for just to save. You save for retirement.
Right.
If in a business, if you're going to save money, you save to invest back into your business. Once you have your reserves met, your working capital met, the savings in other areas is to reinvest back into the growth.
Right.
And that should be marketing, because the biggest enemy of a small business is obscurity. People don't know you exist.
You throw a rock into the Grand Canyon, it's not going to make a dent.
In your market, who knows you exist?
Yep.
And who doesn't know you exist, and how can you introduce yourself to them? And we find, and we're all digital, but we find that online is the easiest and cheapest. You just said $20. I mean, if you'd have spent $200, now, in your area, you've got a market, right? So if you're in the Columbus market, what is that dollar? $200, $2,000 to get you what? I mean, in our mind, if we sign, let's go with an IT client at $2,000 a month. We're going to keep our IT clients anywhere from 3 to 5 years. And so the question is, what's the client life value? Those new customers that you guys obtained or you gained in April are going to potentially come back for second orders. So the ROI on what you spent and your time, if you put a monetary value on that, translate into the client life value, and the brand awareness that you now have is tremendous.
Yeah, they're going to keep coming back because you guys were there for them in a time of need.
Well, that and they appreciate the product and service. I mean, it's just good stuff. So if you have a good service or product and you let everyone know you're there, generally they're going to buy a second time off of you.
Yep. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for making the trip to Columbus. I know it's a long drive. Is there anything going on at the studio that you guys want to plug? Any upcoming events? Any sort of promos going on?
Oh, let's see. Well, this busy time's coming with this holiday season. It's a big time for us. Now's a little bit of a lull, but something we just recently did that really boosted our fall exposure. We teamed up with the Parks Department, and we did called it the Great Gnome Hunt. And we actually had these little pottery gnomes that we packed up, sent them out, and it created a lot of buzz. I mean, people were bringing those back in the studio, so it's actually getting us customers that had never been there before.
Wonderful.
I mean, and they're getting a great experience. So they'll be back to help us, but. Pottery wheels are big.
Because my mother-in-law loves those things. So now you got me intrigued.
But we actually pour gnomes too, so we can do a custom one with their name in it.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
We can do custom and carved
inappropriate gnomes.
Only Jason.
Troy says, we can make it work.
Yeah, we could
bachelorette party. Yeah. Well, guys, again, I want to thank you. Just so you know, we're gonna put up your guys' address, website, phone number, so that folks can get a hold of you in case they have questions or they want to order a mail packet to be able to do it at home with their kids. Again, I know it's a long drive, so I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. Sorry I didn't have any booze for you guys. So guys, I want to thank you for taking time to listen to us here at the Nerd Note. If you would like to be a guest on the Nerd Note, please reach out to us via our website, thenerdnote.com. If there is a topic, or if you would like to be a guest yourself. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.